to heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We'll look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in Kate. Kate, good to see you this evening.
Live long and prosper, brother.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you just lost us like all of our audience. So next, I'm actually going to bring our producer, Gina, to talk about Star Wars. Gina, glad to see you this evening.
I am so excited to be here. And you just pulled a Will Wheaton up there.
Sure did.
Uh-huh.
Sure did.
And, anyway, we'll get into the lizard Spock later. So next we've got Peter. Pete, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Sagrona, everybody.
Nice.
Hi,
Hi, Sharona.
Or is it
I'm on a
Corona?
roll today.
Save me, please save me.
It's Star Wars.
Oh boy.
Steve, how long you got left in school? Your school year?
I have 6 weeks.
Oh, yuck.
21 days. 21 days.
I have 3 weeks.
21 days.
Lucky you.
I have
Yeah.
4 years.
Okay.
I actually have 10 and a half years. Yeah, that's about right. So,
I have 10 years.
Anyway, guys, if you've not already, please like, subscribe, share, especially if you're into Star Wars, because that's what we got coming up. So, we are diving deep into Andor season 2. We have watched episodes 1 through 3 this week. And it is before Battle of Yavin 4 years. So it is not a droid. BBY is not a droid. It is before the Battle of Yavin, which is the first Death Star blow up, is the Battle of Yavin. So this takes
And
place.
what episode does that happen in?
That takes in Star Wars Episode 4, which
The
is
original movie.
Original.
Yes.
That was the
Now
Battle
known
of
as A New Hope.
Yes.
Okay.
So in this, we see Andor, who is, of course, our main character, ish in this one, because I would argue this could be, Andor the Mon Mothma story. But Andor is trying to get a stolen TIE fighter to a person on what ends up being Yavin 4. She is no longer there, and they have Lord of the Flies going on with the idiots from some of my classrooms past in charge.
100%.
And so he ends up getting out of there and taking it and to rescue the farmer people, which I cannot ever remember her name.
Bix.
Okay. They are on some random planet
In the Outer Rim.
in the Outer Rim, hiding out by fixing farm equipment. So they're
As illegal immigrants, let's point out.
They're illegal immigrants working on farm equipment to get food for the Empire. And they're told that they aren't wanted anymore. Yeah, we can get into how heavy-handed
Let's not
this
do that.
thing got.
Yeah.
Let's just say there are some very non-subtle cues on how the people who run this feel about the current administration. And that is all I'm going to say.
I'm not saying a word. Okay.
And then your third sub point is Mon Mothma. If you remember at the end of season 1, she had basically agreed to let her daughter marry the son of a gangster mobster because he's going to get her money for the rebellion. Well, the first 3 episodes are that wedding, and all about how she has some regrets about doing it to her daughter. and her daughter turns it around and is not exactly nice to her. So, and the gray-haired gentleman, and again, you guys know me in names, who was her best friend growing up,
Tay is his name, right?
Hey,
Tay.
yep.
Yes.
is having serious doubts about the rebellion and is basically wanting more money.
Well, he has made some bad moves, and he's also lost
debt.
his wife, and he's in debt. So I
Yeah.
think he's
Got it.
blaming her basically. And,
Yeah. And then we have the Stellan Skarsgård character who is still very much pro-rebellion. I will do whatever I can. They have been waiting to hear. They have all been waiting to hear from Cassian about the TIE fighter, whether he actually stole it and delivered it or not. Then at the end, we have at the end of the wedding, basically her best friend. We see him get into a car with basically the assassin from the first season, and they drive/fly off together with the implication that he's a dead man because of what he is trying to do to sabotage the rebellion.
right.
And that is where we end. Yeah. So
And then you also you missed Deirdre and her
Silent or his name's Silent, I think, or Siler, something like that.
something like that.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
at the end of the first season, she had kind of screwed things up on Ferrix, hadn't caught Cassian,
right. Yeah.
but she still survived it, and she was pulled in with her boss to a meeting with Krennic, who is eventually the overseer of the Death Star. He's the main villain in Rogue One.
he is trying to be he's trying to
And-
be head of the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, he's trying to be head of the whole.
Yeah, he's trying to be he's trying to be Grand Moff.
I'm off Tarkin.
Yeah, he's
Right.
trying to be him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so she meets with him, and he knows that she's a smart one, and so he like bugs her for ideas. And then on top of that, the weird guy that like was following her around in the first season and then saved her life at the end is in a relationship with her, and she like dismantles his mom, if you remember his mom from the
Yes.
first.
That was great.
And so that's the other, probably the smallest part of all this, but they bring those characters in
Yeah.
as well. So we kind of get all the characters from the first season with stories here.
And then Krennic he's old, but he's from Rogue One.
Right.
Right. So I'm going to start with this one. And honestly, I'm going to start next door to me.
That's me.
Kate, that is you. Kate, has this grabbed your interest yet?
Okay, so as the resident confused Kathy on this show, we were talking a little bit about this before the show, that for some reason, Star Wars shows, while they are very good, well acted, well shot, I just always get really confused. This is not a show that I should watch by myself. This is a show that I should be like messaging or talking to someone else, because I miss so much subtext, and for some reason
Just text.
I'm sorry.
You don't always miss just subtext. You sometimes miss the text.
Yeah, I just I don't know why I struggle so hard with. However, this has grabbed my attention. I am very nope, that's a different question. I'll answer that later. I was very confused, especially when I watched the most intense game of rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock that I've ever watched. And then like this random like dinosaur comes out of nowhere.
I love that guy.
The
rhino.
Rhino, yeah.
I love
Yeah,
him.
and then this rhino just comes and eats people, and I'm like,
Love it.
what? When did we jump to Jurassic Park? Like, what is happening? So there are a couple storylines that I am very intrigued by, but I'll get to that later. Tentatively, yes. This is. I remember why I ranked this a 3 or a 3.5. I ranked it either a 3 or 3.5. Yeah. So, yeah. What about
Steve-
you, Gina? Oh,
Okay,
go
no,
ahead.
Gina and
no.
Pete. Gina and Pete. I'm not even asking
fair.
because I know what's grabbed their attention.
I hated it.
You.
I mean,
Yes. I gave it a 4.5 for the first season, and by the end of the third episode, it's definitely caught my attention again, to the point of my other half has forbid me from watching it before we could sit down together.
Oh, I'm so happy.
And it's been driving me crazy because it's like,
It
okay,
just dropped today. Yeah.
oh yeah. So I finished it last night, and that was a hard like I want to watch. So it's definitely by the end of the third episode, I'm all in. I'm ready to go. So I'm excited to talk about some of our questions coming up. So
And I would say for me, I'm not super invested yet. I really wasn't invested after the first 2 episodes. The episode 3 stuff actually started happening that kind of moved some plot along. I want to watch more of it. I'm not oh my gosh, I'm going to watch it, the moment we get off of here, because guys, we get off of, those of you who aren't sure, we put these out on Thursdays, but we take Tuesdays right as the new episodes are being dropped. So I'm not going to go watch the next 3 episodes yet tonight.
Me either.
Yeah. Not the only show I've ever done that for as it's been released was honestly WandaVision.
Same.
So.
And Mandalorian.
Was
Mandalorian.
WandaVision.
For me, Mandalorian.
Next question, and Pete kind of brought this up, so I'm going to let him take the lead on this. Does this suffer from only human main characters so far in this show?
And what I'm trying to say there is, like, Star Wars has always had creatures from all over the galaxy, right? Whether they're Jedi or just side characters. You got
Twi'leks. There's not a Twi'lek. I know.
Right.
Sorry.
And it's very interesting to me. The first season, there were very few aliens. There were a couple that showed up here and there. Here, literally, there were no intelligent aliens.
There was 1 or 2 at the wedding.
There was like one Ugnaught
you're
I
right.
saw.
There were a couple at the wedding, kind of in the background.
I saw one Ugnaught.
Right.
Yeah.
But and I saw some online comments that were like, well, this isn't very Star Wars because it's all humans. And I was wondering if other people felt like it didn't feel like Star Wars because of that. Now, I want to point out the Empire has always been very human. And the reason they do that is they want the Empire to appear extremely racist and only believe in humans, right? So the Empire, basically, if you're not a human being, then you're not worthy of us even considering you. But typically the good guys are a mix of aliens, right? And it is interesting to me that they chose not to, as Gina just said, not even a Twi'lek or something. I mean, there are very human-like creatures in Star Wars. You didn't need to have a Wookiee going.
No, but you could have, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So does this make it feel like something's missing when you're watching Star Wars with only human characters?
All right, Derek, go.
What's a Twi'lek?
They're the blue.
Twi'lek is the one with the 2 like.
And they're blue, and they have the long.
They have the long things off the back of their heads.
The reason I bring up the Twi'lek is because in Chandrila, wasn't she like the senator's daughter or something? Like she was something in Clone Wars. She was some.
Like, of course, Clone Wars. Sure. Yes, all 27 seasons of it. Kate, next.
Hera, if you remember Ahsoka, the green girl, Hera.
With the long,
with the long things, that she was a Twi'lek.
Yeah.
Okay. Kate, next.
I was going to say you can go to Steve if you want to go around the circle.
Go ahead. Whatever.
No, I could go. Question: in Rogue One, did we have other characters?
Not really. Yes. The Admiral Akbar type dude.
Okay.
And we had more droids. I felt like there were more droids. At least I only saw 2 droids.
Yeah, we had the
K2SO.
Yes.
Who will apparently be making an appearance in this?
Eventually.
I
yeah.
am really
can't-
curious where they take this then, because if it's the whatever alien race who comes from the Empire is, right? It could be that race where you have two factions who have sort of have two different viewpoints
Yeah.
and fighting.
Oh.
So I mean, it's an interesting question. Like I don't think I've been affected by it yet, since I find this story very compelling, a great series, great acting and stuff. I haven't necessarily missed it yet, but now it makes me want to go back and watch it with a different eye.
Well, and even does it make it better because it makes the characters more relatable by not having,
Yeah,
a
interesting.
walking carpet or something like that.
Mhm.
Because it could go the other way, right? It could be like,
could be
well, this is a
all
better
Wookiee.
show because all the
Right.
characters are human and we can relate to more of the characters.
Well, I think in that way, if they're all the same thing, it's one group really having this difference of opinion instead of here you have this one race who thinks this, one race thinks this, alien species, and they're arguing,
Right.
right?
I mean, for me, I don't mind whether there are alien races. Okay, I guess technically everybody's an alien if you're not on your home planet,
Right.
but non-human,
Non-humanoid, whatever we
Yeah.
want to call it. Yeah.
Right.
yes, there are different species. I don't care if they're different species or not, as long as it's not distracting. Like and for me, practical effect different species are not nearly as distracting as CGI
Oh,
different species.
100%. I agree there too.
And I'm hoping that if they do pull in other species, that it's like we saw in Ahsoka and it's like we see in Mandalorian and other things, where it's 98% practical effects. I think that's one reason that the little blue dude in the kids show bothered me so much.
The elephant.
There were multiple reasons he bothered me, but it was
him.
I loved him.
Neil.
Neil.
He was so
And
distracting.
Steve remembers his name.
Visually,
Well, they
he was
actually
so
gave him a
distracting.
human name, unlike Bix.
Yes, named after a petroleum product. So okay.
Wait, hold on. I didn't get to answer.
Oh, I was just
It's passing over.
Neither did Gina, so it's
And
getting
then
you.
I'm going to answer also. Go ahead, Kate.
I actually like it. It makes it more relatable to me. I think that you can see the human condition in it, and you can see, like, especially when Mon Mothma. I don't know why I always feel like I'm gonna Mothma.
Mothma.
That's the one.
Yeah, think like Mothman.
Yeah,
Mothma.
Go at the
Yeah,
end.
that's good.
I do Mothra and then put Mothma.
Especially like you could just see the pain and her trying to mask the pain and the worry and the fear in her face at the wedding. It just was very relatable. It's very relatable for them to be human and not be cyborgs or not be Kree. I'm gonna name all different species
fine.
from other
fine. That's fine.
where like they have telepathy or they can do like no, it felt very, I could resonate with it as a human. I have felt those, not exactly those emotions that she felt at the wedding, but I could relate to it. Gina, what do you think?
I don't think the show suffers, but I do notice there's not one other, there's like very few in the background. There's only 2 droids. I counted 2 droids in the whole thing. I would just like to see a little bit more kinetic energy, I guess, for a Star Wars film. And like I read, one of the reviews said, this is a great sci-fi, but is it Star Wars without having the aliens from the non-humans and the droids? That was all. So it doesn't suffer. No, the answer is no. It does not suffer.
But I think it's still Star Wars because it's anytime you get the Empire against the
Right, the rebels,
little guy.
the low guys, yeah.
that feels like Star Wars,
But there's more. Yeah, there's more than just those planets, and those planets have other races on them, and it
Right.
just need to show different.
And if you
that
think
was
about the original movie, other than Chewbacca, was there any aliens in the original movie? I mean, you had all the aliens in the cantina.
all. You had the Jawa, you had all the Jawas, you had the
Oh, that's
sand
true.
people,
Yeah, Sam,
and
you're
you
right.
had the
You're right.
droids.
There were.
and you had the droids. So
Yeah. That's true. Okay, never mind. I take that
Yeah.
back.
So that's all. And it's not suffering. The answer is no, it's not suffering. But I noticed.
Okay, that's fair. So next, and we talked about all the different story arcs in this. We talked about all the different
Okay,
Did we just lose?
he's not
So
here.
we
He's
talked
back.
about- oh, okay. I was about to take over.
Good.
I would
Perfect.
ask which of those story arcs do you want? Let's start with which one do you want to see more of? And Steve, I'll start with you.
Actually, I actually have two. I can't really decide. It's Mon Mothma and Deidre and Cyrell. I find that one so fascinating. Like the dinner with the mother.
So good.
It was
So
that.
good. I agree.
We were talking about that before, where he just goes, "I'm out. I'm gonna go lay down," and Deidre lays into the mother-in-law. I guess, like
Brilliant.
really appreciate how good of an actress. I guess how she really steals the scene. Like you're drawn to her. Like this short little I'm in charge. Here I come. So those two storylines I find very fascinating. So. I mean, especially when you realize that they were together or whatever's going on with them, it was like what? So,
and for me, the main one I want to follow is truly Cassian, and to a lesser extent, is it Luther?
Luthen.
Luthen, yeah,
Whatever.
Stellan Skarsgård. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that the dynamic of those are the two that are, especially rebellion or not. It's rebellion or nothing for them, and they're not really even. Andor's not shy about it at all, and Luthen, everything he does is there's always that he will sacrifice anything he can and change any other thing as long as he's helping the rebellion. If we're going to dive into, if this leads then into Rogue One, that needs to be, if Rogue One is your goal, why should I care about the other plots that lead us into Rogue One? Is my if I got to watch this for
I get it.
hours, why should I care?
Mm.
Okay, so
Mm.
Kate?
Mon Mothma. I love first of all, that actress is so good. Like she is so good at staying quite stoic, but
She was
also
the
showing
she's the daughter of the gal in the original movie, right?
No, she's not.
No. Yeah. I
Okay.
looked it up.
I'm
I
not
thought
gonna
she
lie,
looks
I thought
like
she
her.
was Glenn Close for like a solid amount of time. So
Welcome, Karens.
it's
Oh,
fine.
wait.
But this actress is so good with being able to stay quite stoic and then show just a hint of emotion and have it read so well. And I like that kind of undercover, no one really knows that I'm actually helping the rebellion, and I like that. I like her storyline. I am, yeah, that's the one I'm kind of itching more for. Gina?
So for me, the more is obviously Cassian Andor. I need to see more of him. He was barely in this episode. He did a couple, he was taking the prisoner and he was like sitting there drinking the water. And I was like, come on, dude, what's going on? So, and then, you guys failed me, whatever. You told me the wrong location or I forget what he said, but he said something like that. And then Mon Mothma, I do love her storyline. I do like the class. I do like that the upper class trying to she's sneaking through the upper class, even though she's got this rebellion thing going on. So those two, but Andor, Cassian for sure. Cassian Andor. All right, Pete.
This is tough because I'm interested in most of it. To me, the weakest of this all was Cassian's story.
Yeah.
The detour on the planet, unless there's some big picture thing we're not going to find out about for a while, to me was just kind of like, okay, this is kind of dumb, and it's just a way to delay him there to give the story of his friends on the farming planet
Time to die.
time to be to get into trouble. So I want more of like how Cassian becomes more of a leader in that he is by the time we get to Rogue One. But I'm kind of with Steve on like Deirdre and Cyril, because like they're both villains, I suppose. But
Deirdre
like,
will definitely be a villain.
I think he's
just-
just following orders. I think they're just following orders. I don't think either of them are villains.
no, I mean
but
Deirdre
she has been given
clearly
carte
know.
blanche
Oh,
to
yeah.
go launch the massacre.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
she knows what's going on and she's fine with all of it. She's definitely a villain.
Oh, she is. I don't think
He's
he
more
is.
of a I
Follow
believe
orders.
in law and order, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna do things for law and order. So I don't know if he's as bad as she is, but even so, I wonder if they're gonna do a redemption with them, or is she genuinely just gonna be?
She's bad
And
news.
I don't know. That's
I
why
think
I
she
want to
is.
see more of that, because I
Yeah.
want to see where they're gonna go, because
Yeah.
for how nasty she is, it's such an interesting character that I
find her very calculating. Like she wants nothing to do with the Gorman because it's not going to get her where she wants to be.
right.
Right.
Yeah,
She's like, nope, don't want any part of that. Someone's going to get a downfall.
Yeah.
I want some. Yeah.
Cyril was the one I could see having the redemption arc.
Me too.
Yes.
I can see him having some sort of and by redemption arc, I mean switching over to the rebellion at some point.
He's just not going to follow orders anymore. Right. The orders will be too much.
It will make it too bad for him.
Yeah.
Her is her I don't necessarily want to see a redemption arc on. Okay, let's go around real quick then. Which one do you really not? Oh, sorry, Pete, were you not finished?
I just one other thing. I want to see something go well for Bix, because
I know.
because she had the worst experience of the first season, and
Why do men?
Because there
and
it is.
I don't think we need to talk about necessarily what happened almost happened to her in this episode, but it's terrible, and it kind of like shook me a little, because it's not something Star Wars usually shows. But like I'm like, why do the writers keep making awful things happen to her? So I'm hoping if anybody gets a happy ending, I'm hoping somehow she gets a happy ending. I'm not expecting it, but
I don't think she does, only because I never see her again after anything.
No.
Sorry.
Well, she's not in. We should point out she's
Spoiler
not in
alert.
Rogue One. No one in
not
this.
in anything.
None of the characters in this are in
Krennic.
Rogue One except for Cassian, Krennic, and Mon Mothma. So all the other characters are not in Rogue One. That doesn't necessarily mean they all die between now and then, but
I think
Doesn't like everybody die in Rogue One?
Yes.
everybody
yes.
in Rogue One
This
does.
is a
Yes.
really, this is a
Mon
really
Mothma does
uplifting,
not.
happy story.
Mon Mothma's the only one who doesn't die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
But she's not in
Great.
Rogue One. Anyway.
But that doesn't mean everybody in this show dies.
True. We don't know.
No.
Yeah.
True. Okay, real quick, who don't you want it to focus on? Steve?
Actually, no one. I think they're all interested. I'm curious how they're going to intertwine. I have ones I enjoy more, but it's really fascinating. Like, where are they going to go? Yes.
Okay.
I don't need to see the rock paper scissors dudes ever again.
Ah, you took mine.
You
The
can say
idiots
it.
of Yavin 4,
can
as I
still say
declared
it.
them.
You can still say it.
For me, I don't need to see. I don't care if we see the couple. And again, you guys know me in names.
Cyril
Pedra and Cyrell.
Cyril, yeah.
Deirdre.
If we still see them, fine, but show them doing something. And that's the same thing with me and Mon Mothma. I'm over the wedding and the money issues. That's all she was first season.
I agree.
That's all she's been so far this season. Show me her actually doing something, or don't show her to me.
That's
Kate?
fair. I will say though, and I think I said this either earlier before we started filming, that the part that made me laugh out loud was when, what's his name? Cyril? Is that his name?
Yep.
Cyril, yeah.
Yes.
When Cyril was like, I'll be right back. And then it just shoots to him just like laying like a limp dog on the bed.
and I have never felt so seen. So, miss me with all
No,
of
I'm
the
sorry, I love my mother-in-law. Everyone loves your mother-in-law.
miss me with all of the idiot rebels shooting at each other when they're very clearly on the same side and playing the craziest version of rock paper scissors lizard Spock that I've ever seen. Miss me with all of that. Like, it was so dumb, and just like, I believe that is actually when I started messaging the group chat and was like, someone tell me what the heck is going on, because I just watched the weirdest game of rock, paper, scissors I've ever seen. So I'm fine if I don't see any more of that.
I agree with that. And I also need to see less of Mon Mothma's daughter. I didn't care for any of the wedding. I didn't care for the daughter switching. I didn't like her attitude. I'm over her.
And if the husband's actually going to betray her,
Hurry up and do it.
Come of that.
Yeah. Hurry up and do it. I agree with that. All right, Pete.
I got to say, I mean, I agree with. I believe it. Can't believe I'm saying this. I'm agreeing with Derek. But yeah, I mean, let's call it palace intrigue. We don't need any more. We've gotten 15 episodes of palace intrigue with Mon Mothma. Let's see her become the leader of the rebellion that she's going to become. I think that I would really like that more, and stop enough of her husband and her daughter and all that kind of stuff. Let's focus on the main thing.
Her.
We keep trust her husband.
Unless
keep giving me more
the
Stellan
daughter-
Skarsgård too. So
Yeah. So you agree
unless
there?
the daughter becomes like really, really into the Empire, and then she has to choose between her daughter and the rebellion.
And we
I
know
don't
what
want them
she's
to do
going
that.
to choose. I don't want him to do that.
I don't care. I don't care about the daughter anymore. I'm like, I'm over you. And I think she's over her daughter too after she said that. I wish you were drunk. Comment.
But she gave her a wish though.
Yeah,
did.
she's not wrong.
She did.
Right.
Okay, moving on.
What plot questions do you need to answer on the budget show? Not what did you not understand, but what do you need to know how between now? What do you need to know of what happens between now and Rogue One?
I will just say
Go.
I
There's so
have
much.
nothing to add to this because I'm
Okay.
just confused.
And I have too much, but I'm just going to focus on the one thing, which is the character K2SO. When is he coming on? Because that's what I really want to see.
See, and I'm
That's
going
my
to talk about the other droid. I want to know what happens to BMO. I mean, the poor droid, he's got such a
And then he
think he's
gets
done.
left on the planet.
think
it
he's
seemed
done.
like he did, right?
Yeah.
I think he's done.
He's got this complex of everybody leaves him and everything like that. I just feel so bad for BMO. So
And do we see him ever
I need
again?
to know where he ends up, that he finally ends up with, happy with some, maybe he finds a C-3PO like sidekick character that he can hang out with. I don't know.
I think he's decommissioned. Sorry.
Oh
Yeah, because Brazo left him with the one woman, said basically now you're with her.
right.
And it was
And-
sort of like that was your story.
Yeah.
Goodbye. So
I hope not,
And
though.
she's-
Poor
and she's
BMO.
gonna,
He'll spend every night looking up at the sky, waiting for Cassian. Cassian.
She's gonna decommission him.
She needs a new toaster.
This is just the happiest show we've ever watched. If you're really looking for a light-hearted show that's going to make you really
watch
just
this.
believe in good in the world, this
Don't
is
watch
definitely the show you need to pick, everyone.
Along with Daredevil and Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Add Punisher in there, and you've just got yourself
Yeah.
a good old time.
If you want happy-go-lucky Star Wars, go back to
It's
Skeleton
not
Crew.
there you go.
Steve,
me-
did you say? Wait, did Steve say his?
Mine would be I want Deidre's storyline to be full complete. I hope they don't cut back on that because I find her, even the first season, I found her fascinating. So I hope they do a nice wrap up. Whatever she goes completely evil, she gets taken out. What is it going to be? So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think these people that they have made me invest my time in finish their story, because we know how Andor's story is going to end. We
Yeah.
know how
Right.
basically how Mon Mothma's story is going to end. Finish your stories. don't make me go into all of a sudden they're going to show the live action for between battle after after the Battle of Yavin, but before Empire Strikes Back, and to put a live action series in there. Finish things up. Well, no,
It's called Rebels.
But just
none of these characters are on Rebels either, except for Mon Mothma.
Yeah. So anyway, Kate, what do we have for Disney Plus news this week?
Oh, let me scroll down.
We do have it. And we also have a mute button. So you're still muted.
Sorry. Okay. We do have one in the Has This Ever Gone Well category. Disney will be debuting the Star Wars Tales of the Underground shorts on May 2nd on the game Fortnite. They will be shown on a yet-to-be-determined island in the game.
Uh-huh.
Raise your hand on this platform if you play Fortnite. Excellent.
So,
Perfect.
yeah, they announced that today, and I'm going, I have never known anything that has actually debuted on Fortnite to go well.
My daughter's 22 and she's too old to play Fortnite.
My students play, but they're too young for Star Wars Underworld. They don't know who Cad Bane is.
Yeah.
I don't even know who Cad Bane is.
He's the blue gangster, dirty, hairy dude.
He was in.
Oh, he was cool.
He was in Boba Fett. Anyway.
See, I'm sad because if you remember correctly, Casey and I were gonna watch all of Star Wars, but we got lost in Clone Wars. It was,
which is bound to happen.
We just couldn't rebound. So,
all right. Next week we have episodes 4 through 6 of this.
Yeah.
This is going to be 3 years before the Battle of Yavin.
So we're skipping ahead a year from these events.
Every minute plot point from this will not get answered.
Great. That's going to really help my confusion. This is going to make it all okay.
So it's all going to have to, which tells me episode 4 is basically going to be a recap of the last year. They're going to have to at least explain what has happened the last year. Some stuff. They're going to have to explain that silver-haired dude got killed. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
So,
it was Bebo.
You don't want to know. I'm telling you.
But that's what's coming up. We're doing episodes 4 through 6. If you have suggestions on what we should watch after this, because I know some of Kate's suggestions are going to be anything but Star Wars. Actually, now I will say, Kate, we are going to actually watch Rogue One. Have you seen Rogue One?
Yes, I have. It was roughly around when it came out. And I also believe I was quite confused then, except for the last 3 minutes of the movie.
Yes, exactly.
It used to be Leia.
and Darth Vader.
You'll probably be less confused this time.
Yeah, because you'll know who casting Andor is.
So anyway, that will be coming up. But if you have other things you'd like us to watch, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. Message us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere. We have new episodes that come out every Thursday on YouTube and all the major podcasting services. For Kate, Gina, Pete, and Steve, we will see everyone next week. Bye, guys.
May the force be with you.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcasts and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode, because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.